welcome back to another podcast with myself and Mahia. We are both here if you are watching or listening.
Hello.
Yes. I, hopefully, we're still, in the process of, making ourselves in this podcast. So, please be patient with us as we, get comfortable. Because I know, in the beginning, it still feels a little awkward, at least for me. I don't know about Mahia, but it feels awkward. But I think the more we do this, I'm sure we'll get more comfortable and we can have more relaxed conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So just please be patient with us as you are watching or listening, and maybe you'll see us in the process of growing as we do this podcast. Who knows, maybe in 10 episodes we'll be just laughing and conversating. But
Pros.
yeah. Because I think a lot of times when people do these podcasts, oftentimes, at least for those who are really popular podcasts, it seems like they're people who have already had experience behind a camera or doing YouTube or making videos or doing film and stuff, and podcasting just seems to be the next step. But I think for us, that we're just starting from the bottom from no experience, and we just wanted to jump into this. So this is our process of sort of growing and learning.
Yeah, I'm sure the first stages will be a bit difficult to get used to, but then with experience and with practice, I'm sure it'll get better within the next few podcasts.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, so how have your days been going, Mahia?
I've just been slowly adjusting to my online classes as I just started last week, and it's interesting in terms of interacting and getting close to classmates through Zoom, because oftentimes my professor, she would break us out into breakout rooms and then to do assignments together, but also to get closer with each other. So it's a different way that I'm not used to. I'm so used to physically being in a classroom and talking to them. But yeah, it's a interesting experience.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have been going through that. I don't know how I would have reacted if I had to take all my classes online.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently not in school, so I don't know how I would be able to adjust. I think the most classes I took online at one time was 3. But even that, it's it gets hard to keep up with towards the end of the semester, because that's usually when it's everything gets filed and big projects come in. And
yeah, before this I was just talking to Trisha about how I've been kind of trying to deal with that, because honestly I'm really from past experiences with online classes, it hasn't really been my thing, as I always fall behind on classes, and really it's you have to take on the responsibility. There's no really anybody to keep you in check. But yeah, I was just mentioning to Trisha about this assignment tracker that I found on Google Drive, on Google Doc, and wow, yeah, it's been really helping me so far, with keeping track of upcoming due dates and what is due. And yeah, it's been working out really well, so I hope I can stick with that throughout the rest of the semester.
Is that a template on Google Docs?
Yeah, it comes with I guess our school Gmail account, and then I was just looking through it and I'm like, oh, what is this? This is what I was just looking for. I clicked on it, I'm like, oh wow, yeah. So I just started inputting everything for my classes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you would manually
I would manually put it in. Yeah, it's good because I have 5 total classes, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna need a visual to keep everything in check.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a new thing, because I don't remember ever seeing something like that.
Maybe
they developed it mid-COVID.
Yeah, they're oh, maybe students would need this for this time, so let's make that. Yeah, I don't recall seeing it before either, so yeah.
Dang, it must be nice.
I know, to have that before.
It shouldn't have taken COVID for people to think of something like that. Yeah. But I think there's apps for stuff like that too.
Probably, yeah. Something to set reminders.
Yeah, I know, like when I tried doing it like manually in a planner before when I was in school, it would never work. Like I would just keep up with it for like a week, and then it would just I would just forget about it.
Same. And then like by the time like you want to get back into using it, it's like only for that year, right? Because the planners usually only go for that year, so it's like, oh,
Oh
I
yeah,
can't use
yeah,
it. This is old. You just have to toss it out.
yeah. So like well this year my a friend of ours bought me a bullet journal for my birthday earlier this year. And so I think that has also definitely been helping me during this whole pandemic. I got it right before the pandemic. Like I can do like mood trackers on there to keep track of like my emotions and my moods for each day. So I can reflect back on how I was feeling certain days, why I was feeling like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can color code it and be creative in that. So I have a mood tracker. I
Is
have water
the
intake.
mood tracker and like what you mentioned, the water take, is that something that was already a part of the journal, or you put it in?
Yeah, so it's all pretty much blank pages. It's like dotted pages. So then the dots are like almost like the lines where you would like draw along. But yeah, everything I gotta manually draw.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like also my way of being like artistic or creative.
Yeah.
And then like I can like there's like for the mood trackers I'll like change the design of it like every month. So I'll do like a monthly mood tracker.
Oh, that's cool.
So each one gets like a different like design template. So I have like water intake because I'm really bad at drinking water. So try to keep track of my water intake and drink more. Mood tracker, weekly tasks. So I have like a to-do box and I can write down the things that I want to get done for the week. Keep track of important events, due dates, birthdays. Although I don't really need to write down birthdays really.
Yeah, super organized. Yeah, I feel like I only really do something like that towards school, but then to use it for like your personal life too, I think is really important as well. Yeah. It's crazy how like writing down something, like physically writing it down can help in like a really big way for you to like remember or to keep things back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because like it's like when you're physically writing it down, it's like I don't know, maybe like the physical like work of it helps you to like remember those words that you wrote down.
Yeah.
Um,
So if you don't, then it's just easily forgotten. It's like, oh, I wish I wrote it down or noted.
Yeah, it's always important to like write things down.
Yeah.
But it also you gotta keep track of where you put the things that you write down. Because it's pointless to write something down if you lose paper.
Lose that. Yeah, that's true.
Or like I usually write everything down on my phone, but if I accidentally delete a note, then I'm like, oh,
yeah,
no,
it's gone.
Like, gone. Yeah. No, I have, and like I had so much like notebooks like all over my house that are like partially drawn in or written in. Like the first 2 pages are written in.
And then the rest is just blank.
Blank. Yeah.
Years
so I'm trying to find a use for it. Yeah, so I've been trying to keep track with that. Or like I'll have a page that's like dedicated to like my reading. Like going through like the books that I read, keeping track of the Bible, like trying to like check off like which books I finish. And yeah, there's like and it's like I like it because it's like I don't have to stick to one like structure or one template. Like by the next month I can change everything up if this organization isn't working. I can reorganize it in the next month. So it's been really fun to see. Like I think like naturally I'm a very like creative person, or people tell me that. And just being able to find like the different outlets, especially during these crazy times. I think during quarantine it's been a really good time to like organize and like do various things and hobbies, trying to figure yourself out.
Yeah, I know. We just have like so much more time now on our hands now that we have to kind of stay home more often, but like you said, yeah, it's really a time to find more of like the areas that we're really good in and making ourselves in that, so that when we do, are able to socialize with everyone and go back out again, then yeah, we can really show those talents or use it in even more greater ways.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a good time to really like even study ourselves and like you said, like find out what the things that we're good at. I think like
Yeah.
for me, I really struggle with figuring out what things I'm good at. Like I feel like I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm not a master in anything.
Mm,
And so I feel like I dabble a lot. Like I like to try different things, but I don't feel like I'm any expert in any particular area.
I feel the same. Yeah, that's how I feel with like guitar actually. Like I feel like I've always like tried to practice here and there or get better, but then I've never like, how do I say it, like been consistent with practicing and
Hmm.
getting better. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I feel the same too with a lot of different areas where you just kind of get into it and kind of get good at it, but you never really like master it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you're better at guitar than me.
Dang.
I think you spent more years on guitar than I probably did.
Yeah, you're really good at piano. So, and
I
you're
know,
pretty
I know.
much
I feel like I
self-taught,
forgot to a
right?
lot of it because of quarantine. Sorry, what were you saying?
You're pretty much self-taught, right?
E Basically, I mean, with for those that are listening, I can play ukulele, guitar, and piano. I know a very basic drums and very basic bass guitar, but I hardly ever play those instruments. With piano, I started off self-taught, I guess, like YouTube. Um, I was really into learning like Yuruma songs, like River Flows in You,
Mm-hmm.
um, and like their other songs. It's funny because like I never really had much interest in playing piano ever. Like, I showed no interest in piano ever. I would just play the ukulele mostly, and then my parents bought me a piano for my 11th birthday, and I didn't ask for one. They just saw it, I guess, at Kmart and bought me one. It's like, okay. And it wasn't until like later that year that I was like, might as well learn how to play it since it's in my room.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like learned like Silent Night because it was like Christmas time when I was thinking this. Um, and I was like, might as well learn. So I would go on YouTube and like learn from YouTube. So basically, self-taught, but I did take like basic music theory um, in high school and college, and so that kind of helped me upon the foundation that I already set through being self-taught.
Yeah.
And now I play all the time. Although I haven't played in like the last like 6 months because of COVID. So my piano's broken here at home. So I'm really hoping I haven't forgotten the last like 8 years of playing.
Yeah, it might be a little rusty when you get back, but then I'm sure you'll catch on right away.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, that's one thing I wish I kind of learned, or because like how to read music. And back when I was like in band for middle school, just for like 1 year, like I remember it was really difficult. Like reading music was so hard. Like how do I read the notes that fast? Like, but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I still struggle with that. 8 years of
yeah,
playing, I still can't sight read.
yeah. That's one thing if I wanted to get more serious or into music, that I want to learn is how to read music. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it takes a lot of brain power. Like you gotta remember the letters, fingering,
Yeah.
like, the double
Oh my
playing.
gosh, I'm getting like
Yeah,
flashbacks. I'm getting
it's
stressed
really a
out just
headache
thinking
at
about
first.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's funny. Like I wasn't really much interested in band. Then like the thing that turned me off from band was having to read sheet music.
Yeah.
That made me not want to play band, among other reasons. Um, but yeah, like I mean, I play music. Um, I'm interested in writing. I read a lot of books. So I like stories and like I don't know, art. I've been getting really into like craft making like during quarantine. I've came
How's that
across
been
like,
going?
huh?
Oh, how's that been going?
Um, Fine. I think I haven't made anything new since the last time we spoke. So I have like a couple wall hangings. Um, if you've seen like the other YouTube videos, like for those who are listening or watching, there is a video of me doing a wall hanging. If you want to go check that out. Excuse me. So I have like 4 of those made, and the like a wooden shelf, hanging shelf thing I made. Other than that, I haven't made anything recently, but I do want to get into painting and
Mm.
art like that. Um, yeah, that's like my creative history. Yeah, I think it's good to like study yourself and figure out like your interests, what you're not interested in, what your strengths and weaknesses are. Um, like the other day, I took a personality quiz. So I was like, yesterday I was in a very reflective mood of like what I want as far as like a career. Like I'm still in the process of looking for a career
Mm.
and figuring out what I want to do with my life, which is like a big thing for like students and college students, like trying to figure out what it is you want to do with your life as for a career.
Right.
It's a struggle.
Yeah, it is.
um, yeah, I think I took a personality quiz because I was really trying to reflect on like what it is that I would really want to do. And it was like similar to like the one I think you and me took that one time, the 16 personality one.
Yeah.
So I think it was a type of that, but it was like a different website from the one that we did. The Myers-Briggs 16 personality quiz, where it gives you like a 4-letter like code. And I got the same results. I am an INFP.
Probably
Um,
somewhere the same.
yeah, I think you and me were both the same, right?
I think so.
So yeah. And so with that personality, it was saying that like it's like you have a lot of creative things. And I don't know, like the personality quiz is like if you take like the same, sorry, my dog's on the bed. If you see me looking over, sleeping. Uh, but like if like I noticed that when I take that quiz, I've taken it like several times and I still get the same results. So it must be true.
Yeah.
And like I read it and I was like, I don't know, some of those quizzes would be hitting too hard. Too close
Too
to home.
relatable.
Yeah. It's like, facing like your weaknesses or the things that like, you're not the best at. I'm like, that's it's like it's piercing a little.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead if you had. No.
No.
Um, yeah, so it's like it's very enlightening. Doesn't help though in a career though. I mean, it does. It gives me like an idea, but it's also hard because you have to kind of look at like your local area and like what's like what are strong the industries like in your specific area.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so the things I want to do are not very popular here.
Yeah, that's true. Like even though there might be a job you want to get into, but sometimes like there's better opportunities outside of like where you're currently at or living in. So yeah, that's also one thing never really thought like to take into consideration too. It's like, yeah, what does like the area you're in is what kind of jobs are they really looking for?
Yeah. I think here in Hawaii, like the big industries are like the healthcare, like
Yeah.
medicine, doctor, nurse, um, tourism,
Yeah, the hotel
hotels,
industry. Uh-huh.
and restaurants. I think
Mm.
like I think those are big. I don't know. I can't really think of any others. I don't know if you can think of any others.
Yeah, it's
Education?
the biggest one. Oh yeah, I think so too. Education. But yeah, the first thing came to mind was like tourism.
Yeah. We rely a lot on tourism, which makes it difficult during this quarantine because we're not letting tourists
Yeah.
tourists aren't really coming in because no one's traveling.
It's
So
like, yeah, they want to open it back up to get the money, but yeah, there's that dilemma, which is really hard.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm still hopeful for the future that like we can get through this.
Mm.
It's funny, like when we're the Sunday message the other day was talking about like signs that God gives that like as like tokens of love. There's different things that God shows us and gives us to remind us that He loves us. In the course of our day-to-day life, it's sometimes maybe hard to remember that or recognize that. And like as we're like going about like our busy like this, even in quarantine, it still feels like we're busy.
Mm.
And so God gives us like different tokens and signs. Sometimes only you yourself recognize and can know like something particular to you, to remind us that He's there, He's listening, and He will answer your prayers when you pray, and that He loves. And so it was a very nice message, like in the midst of all this like chaos that's going on in the world. And he talked about like one sign that He gives is through a rainbow. Like if you see a rainbow, it's like a sign that like how like how rainbows work. It's like when it's raining or it's about to rain, and it's like the sunlight, it's the light going through the moisture in the clouds, and that what forms the rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes rainbows come like after a rainstorm, so it's like hope at the end of the tunnel kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, I think I gained a lot of hope and strength from this message too, and I was actually kind of surprised because I didn't know, or because I'm still in the process of reading the Bible, but I didn't know that it was mentioned at all about like rainbows in the Bible. So
honestly,
when
I didn't know that was.
I was
I'm
like,
like, they
so
use the
I
word
went to
rainbow.
go check actually like because the scripture that was used for the message of Genesis chapter 9, and I think it's from or within verse 12 and after, but yeah, I read it and I saw the word like rainbow. I was like, what? Yeah, so all this time, like, because I'm sure we've all like seen rainbows multiple times, but for it to also be a sign, meaning of like God's promise or His token of love, is like, wow. I just
Yeah.
learned that. It's like, oh my gosh.
No, and it's great. Like here in Hawaii, we see rainbows all the time. Like
Yeah,
it's just like a natural occurrence that happens here often. We're kind of nicknamed the Rainbow State, right? The Rainbow.
I think so.
Like that's our college's like
Yeah, we
mass
would have a team, I think. What's
Rainbow
it called?
Warriors.
Team or some team. You know me.
Yeah, we have like our school's like mascot or something like Rainbow Warriors. Yeah, like
Yeah.
rain.
So I'm like
And I think
always on
there's
the
one.
lookout for rainbows too now.
Yeah. I remember one time we were up in Haleiwa, which is like on the north side of the island, and we had a friend visiting from Korea, and we're like kind of giving her a tour around the Haleiwa town. And I remember we were walking down the street, and she had seen a full rainbow in the sky, and she like paused like really like suddenly. It was like wait, picture, because it's I guess maybe not as common in places. And so she was like really shocked and really happy when she saw that, because it's like, you know, it's got stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came to mind just now. I don't know, suddenly. That was from like a few years ago.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and like God gives us like different things, sometimes through people or through dreams too. Um, but it's like God gives us tokens to show that He loves us, that He will fulfill His promises that He's made for us,
Yeah.
and that we can overcome. If we are overcome and are patient during the tribulation, then things will turn out well.
Mm. Yeah. And another thing like I also kind of realized about it is that we too like have to do our part to receive that promise, such as like keeping God's word, then that's when we have that seal. I think we talked about the seal in last week's podcast too, actually. But yeah, receiving like the seal of the word, then God will show his love even more because of that. And so that made me think too, like sometimes it can happen with like between us or people, like we always expect things from others, or sometimes it could be the same with God, because we know that he loves everyone and he's showing these signs too. But yeah, we also have to like keep those promises, value it, and also do our part and like our responsibility to continue receiving that kind of love and protection. Yeah, that's something I also thought about it, yeah, when I heard this week's message.
Yeah, no, that's really true. I think when it comes to, God wants to give us blessings and he wants us to prosper and succeed, but we also have to do our part.
Yeah.
Like people don't realize or oftentimes neglect that fact that, we also have a responsibility that, like, even though God is all omnipotent and omniscient, um, that like we still have to do our part.
Yeah.
Then the whole thing can be fulfilled on both
Mhm.
sides.
Yeah, like it's always going to be a mutual relationship between us and God, that it's not always just one side giving, but yeah, just like a relationship, any normal one, like, both like a husband and a wife, they have to both love each other and both have like the same kind of heart. But if it's one-sided, then yeah, can you really call that like a true relationship? So yeah, I think in the same way too with God and ourselves, we both have to really share that same kind of love.
Yeah, I know I'm guilty of sometimes being like a one-sided thing. Like I pray as like, oh God, help me do this, help me do that. But it's like I also have to, give. It's like a give and take, like in any
Yeah.
relationship, like you said.
Yeah.
If it's one-sided, it's just a crush. But if it's mutual, then it's like a give, and you can't just receive all the time, but you also have to give.
Mm.
And like that's also like people in general. I think we need to give more, I don't know, kindness to the world
Yeah.
and like show more love in the world. There may be a lot of these like issues going on with like injustice and I don't know, stuff like that. It's like if we just like are more passionate with each other, compassionate with each other, and more kind. I think the world needs more kindness nowadays.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think I saw like recently I saw something online where it said, I think if you're doing something and you expect to receive something back, then you didn't do it like out of true kindness, which I thought was really true. Like, yeah, if you did something, but you're like, okay, this person's definitely going to give me something back if I do this, and yeah, you're not really doing it out of a genuine and earnest heart, but just to expect something back. But yeah, like you said, I think especially at a time like this, the world definitely needs a lot more kindness and love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw this meme or like this comic strip or something on Facebook, and it was like a picture of like a dude like giving like food to like a homeless family, but like had his camera up, like
Oh yeah.
like recording the thing, and it's like it's not, you don't need to show the world like
Good
your
deed.
good deeds. Like God knows everything. You don't need to show it.
Mm.
But it's like when you're showing it, you're doing it for like maybe the praise or like the praise, but not out of a genuine heart. So you don't need to record it, just
Just
to
do
do
it.
it.
Yeah, that's true. Like, what is your purpose behind that, truly?
Yeah. Um yeah, and then like earlier today I was actually watching the Black Panther. Um and then like a good like I know like a part of it was like kind of there's like I guess one of the themes of the show, I mean, I don't know, from my interpretation of it, was that like, like Wakanda's supposed to be like this, like technologically advanced, like society, um, way more advanced than like our current societies. And you see all these countries that are like third world countries that are like poor and stuff. And like when you have like a technologically advanced society and you have the means to help others, um, you should, share what you have. And like it's like, yeah, like being kind and like showing, like giving to those who don't have.
Mm.
And like that was at least one of the big things. And I was watching it because the passing of Chadwick Boseman. Condolences to his family and his loved ones. um, I felt bad because I was like, I didn't watch the Black Panther movie when it first came out.
Mm.
Actually, yeah, I think today was actually my first time watching it, so I felt bad because I didn't watch it until after he had already, passed. But I remember when it first came out, like how big of a like thing it was.
Yeah.
Like having, a Black superhero where, children like that could look up to someone that looks like them. Like the kind of representation. That's why it's so important to have representation so that, everyone can make these connections with these characters. They can't necessarily connect in the same way to like other people. So to be able to see like themselves in like these characters, it was really important. And yeah, I remember it was like a huge thing. I just get intimidated when it comes to Marvel because there's just so much
A lot.
to watch. And I've only seen like a couple like different movies. So that's probably why I didn't watch it, just because it's like it's a little overwhelming with how much movies there is and like trying to keep up with everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually haven't watched it either yet, but I feel like from seeing everyone's reaction, from the current thing that happened, it must be like a really great movie. And I think maybe soon I should also see it myself. But yeah, I think like what you were saying too, how much the media can really affect everyone, like kids, adults. But yeah, what they really portray is really important. So yeah, like when Black Panther first came out, yeah, I remember it being super popular. Like everyone was talking about it. I would see like pictures all over the internet. But yeah, I think that was like the start from Marvel, or I'm not too sure if there had been any other movies too similar anyway. Yeah, like Trisha and I also agree too that I have no clue. Like I haven't really watched much, just here and there, because yeah, it is pretty intimidating. But yeah, I think that could be like a first for me to watch. Yeah, and get into that. See what everyone else also like really loves and have really like made a lot from this movie.
Yeah. No, well, it was kind of like trippy in a way, like watching it today, like knowing that he had passed from cancer, like because he was diagnosed in like 2016 and he filmed like countless movies
Yeah.
while having stage 3 cancer at the time. And so when I was watching him in the movie today, it was like I was getting worried about him. I was like, because there's like fight scenes where he's getting punched and he's being like, you know, gutted in the stomach, and it's just like I was like, oh no, oh no, and like because then now I'm conscious of the fact that he had cancer at the time.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have felt like that maybe the first time watching it if I had watched it before his passing. But I was reading like a lot of like other celebrities like sharing their words about him, and it's really touching to see like all the ways in which he as an actor and as a um part of this franchise, how big of a role he played in influencing others.
Mm.
He seemed like just a great person, and I mean to shoot that much movies while going through surgeries and chemotherapies, that's beyond just strength alone. So
Yeah, to think that he was going through all that while still, committing to his job is really amazing. Like he did it not only for himself, but for the people around him, for the people who also act with him in the movie, and for those who watch. So yeah.
Yeah. And he had even like visited like a cancer center, like St. Jude's Hospital or something, visiting children with cancer while also having cancer. It's like, oh my God. But yeah, but I was also saying that like people were like, before he had passed, people were like people on the internet or online were like making a lot of like bad comments about how like he's losing weight, he looks really unhealthy, and then, you know, coming to find out that he had cancer that whole time, and people were like being mean to him like during the process, and then like they probably feel really bad now because, you know,
they found out what was really happening.
Yeah, and I saw a post like, you know, you never know what people are going through, so we should be kind and nice to each other.
Yeah.
But I saw another post was like, we shouldn't have to wait to find out what they've gone through in order to be kind and generous. Like, we should just be kind and generous, like, without having to know what they've gone through.
That's true.
Like, we shouldn't have to wait until we find out afterwards what they went through to be kind. Yeah, so moral of this podcast, be kind to others.
Yeah, kind. That's the main word.
Kindness. Be the light in the world that will eradicate that darkness. That's my and look out for rainbows. That's the key.
Yes.
And we're to summarize this podcast, you know, see the hope in rainbows. Yeah, the message, like, there's one thing the message has said where it's like, don't be afraid of the dark clouds coming in, because you know, like, sometimes we see tribulations like coming and they're on their way, but you know, there's hope at the end, like light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope. There's the rainbow will appear, the sun will shine again, all these other different quotes that we've all heard. But it's like, you know, just endure and weather the storm, even if it's difficult. Even if it's difficult, smile. Even if it's difficult, endure, be patient, do what you can while you can. And things will be resolved when the time is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To go on that too, yeah. It's something I always like believed in, like for a while now, because I feel like, yeah, growing up, or especially in high school for me, I feel like for everyone, you know, high school is like that period of time in your life when you're growing up, and you know, you start to really build your ideals and your morals. But yeah, I had a lot of friends who had like hard times. You know, they would always come to me and share like what they're going through and their issues, and sometimes even be like depressed. But yeah, something like I realized too, and a lot of this I learned from like God's word too as well, is that, you know, it's gonna be inevitable that you face like difficulties in your life. I don't think like any, or there could be, but then because we're, you know, we're human beings, like we're always gonna have times where we feel down or upset. But then just like what Trisha said too, you have to really think about like the brighter side and be optimistic. And I think it all comes down to how you handle those situations when it does hit you. And then there's like this little cartoon I saw, like, and the quote was like, "It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way." And I was like, true.
I was just thinking about like people are always like, you know, sometimes it's hard to just smile, and you know, it's hard to be happy in like a difficult time. And it's like, yeah, you're allowed to still be sad. You're allowed to feel those emotions. Just don't stay in that position too long, or you'll get drowned in.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog keeps moving in her sleep. Anyways,
very hopeful things were shared that I hope everyone can also take for themselves.
Yeah, this is a good episode. So yeah, just be patient with us. I think, even with this episode, I think like we're getting the hang of it. We're letting the conversation flow. So yeah, I guess that's it for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. Tune in next week. We'll be back again, and yeah. So then we'll see you next time, or you'll hear us next time, or whatever.
Here, see.
So yeah, later.
Bye.